England and Italy have announced their teams, and it isn't as drastic in terms of selection as we thought it was going to be. So let's talk about that. I've also got a combined 15 coming up between both sides. Will any Italy players make a combined 15? Also, I think I've worked out why and how all these leaks are happening of the selection for the England team, and maybe why the journalists this week, myself included, got it so wrong. Got a little bit of a trade secret for you. But let's get into the selection for this weekend. But before I do, a quick reminder to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Tim. As you can see, in my mobile studio in Geneva currently, heading back to the UK tomorrow and absolutely buzzing for Ireland versus France. I'm going to be in front of a TV screen for that. That's all I care about. But Sunday, England play Italy. And yeah, let's look at the side. Steve Borthwick is named. Yeah, like I say, not really much of a change. One player in the forwards, different from last weekend's opener, and a couple in the back line. Significant ones in the back line. We'll come to that in a minute. But Jack Willis starts at 7 in place of Ben Curry last week. I think this probably would have been Steve Borthwick's selection last week, but Jack Willis had limited amount of time in the camp because he was playing for Toulouse. And I think that probably cost him his spot last week. I don't think it's necessarily a case that Ben Curry didn't do very well, so therefore he's not playing. Although I don't think Ben Curry played as well as he could. So he didn't take his chance. I think that's fair to say. But delighted to see Jack Willis in. Hoping he can translate some of that club form that we have seen. And, yeah, take it to another level. I think he will add a dimension to the way England play. And really, really looking forward to seeing Jack Willis out on the field. I was a little bit surprised that everything else has stayed the same. Not disappointed. I think in the case of Lewis Ludlam, he deserves to keep his spot. Ollie Chesham the same. But the talk, and I'll get at the end of the video about what's been going on there, but the talk was there was going to be much more in terms of change in the England pack. As for the back line, well, there you go. I think the fans have got what they want. Well, I think probably more fans possibly wanted Marcus Smith at 10. Nevertheless, they've got a 10 who is actually a fly half and a centre who plays centre. Shock horror. Although it is, and I think this is the lesser of two evils, an outside centre playing at inside centre rather than a 10 playing at inside centre. Ollie Lawrence has been given the responsibility in the 12 shirt. Henry Slade back from injury to wear 13. What would I have done if I was selecting? Well, I'm not the England head coach, and what Steve Borthwick has forgotten about rugby is more than I'll ever know, so you got to trust him. But I would have gone for Henry Slade at 12 and Joe Marchant at 13. I feel Joe Marchant has been a little bit hard done by there, not even in the matchday squad. And he'll be hurting, definitely. Other than that, Jack Van Portfleet at 9, Ollie Hassel-Collins and Max Malins with Freddie Stewart at fullback, and Owen Farrell at 10. That is the call I would have made. I love the guy. I don't know why people criticise Owen Farrell so much. He is world class. He's had, 102 caps for England now. He's played in 3 Lions tours. Coach after coach after coach keep picking him. Teammate after teammate keep saying how amazing he is. Maybe it's his dour northern demeanour, but people don't warm to him. I love the guy. Although, yeah, I will admit, he could probably do with wrapping his arms a little more with his tackle every now and again. As for the bench, look at that. Henry Arundell, our Lord and Saviour. 20 minutes of club rugby he's played in 3 months, and he's on the bench for England. But he's one of those generational talents, potentially. Now, quite often, I feel that fans particularly, coaches don't really do this, but fans have a tendency to over-exaggerate how good a player is when they're young, because you are mapping onto them the potential of where you feel they might get to one day. And in the case of Henry Arundell, you feel the ceiling of his potential performance is vast. And he could be, an all-time great. But you've got to judge players on what they're doing right now. And Henry Arundell, like I say, has played 20 minutes in 3 months. So he's obviously impressed in training. I'm absolutely buzzing to see him play because he is electric. And incredible pair of quads on him as well. But the player I think I'm more excited than any other in this England squad, even more than Henry Arundell to see, is Alex Mitchell at scrum half. The game just slowed down when Ben Youngs came on last week. I'd prefer to see Alex Mitchell starting, but hey, he's in a matchday squad in a Six Nations game in a World Cup year. I'm absolutely buzzing about that, and I think he can inject pace and tempo into the performance off the bench. And that's what I like about the look of the bench. Mitchell, Smith, Arundell, add Earl to that. You have got gas impact off that bench, and that's good to see. So I thought there were going to be more changes. I quite like the look of that team. Let's move over to the visitors to Twickenham, Italy. Oh, before I do, actually, there's one really great comment that was made, and please do leave your comments. I absolutely love them. One great comment was made about how much of an advantage it is for England to have 2 consecutive home games to start the tournament versus France, who are going to Ireland tomorrow, 2 consecutive away games. And I thought, you know what, that's a really good point, because Steve Borthwick could not have asked for a better start as England head coach. He's been able to have the maximum amount of time with his players in training because they haven't had to travel. And after this game against Italy, they've got a 2-week build-up to their first away game against Wales. So in terms of having a look and developing something to start, Steve Borthwick could not have asked for more. France have been dealt a really tough deal. They had to go away to Italy, and then they've had to travel to Ireland. So they're going to have had minimal preparation, which is why the French team has stayed pretty much the same. It's also why I'm slightly surprised there aren't more changes with England. And again, I'll get to that at the end of the video. Let's look at Italy then. And yeah, not much in terms of changes there for Italy. I've got to start on the bench though. Jake Polledri is back in international rugby. I could not be happier for the guy. The last couple of years, I don't know how much generally people know about his last couple of years. If you don't know, Jake Polledri had a potentially career-ending injury, nerve damage. That just meant it was a waiting game for a lot of it. But it got to the point where he genuinely nearly lost his leg. That's how bad his injury was. And I think in 99 out of 100 cases, that would be the end of a player's career. It's a testament to the absolute dogged determination of Jake Polledri that he's playing rugby at all, let alone playing rugby at international level in a Six Nations game. Add to that the fact that while he was recovering from that injury, while he was dealing with that, his younger brother also died. So the couple of years Jake Polledri has had is unimaginable, and I am so happy for him that he's back playing rugby. So forget the rest of the Italian team. I don't expect a great deal out of Jake Polledri at the minute because he hasn't had the time to get back to the level he was at. But if he gives us even a little glimmer of the old Jake Polledri, then that'll be amazing for Italy. But I think more than anything, the fact he's out on the field is wonderful. I really like the look of that Italian front row. Riccioni has come through his concussion protocol, and he starts. They're a handy front row. They really are. Canoni and Rutzer, good combination at lock, and those flankers, Negri and Lamaro, are beasts. So they're going to cause England problems. They're definitely going to cause England problems. Varney and Allen. No Garbisi, that's the only shame. We've got Riccioni back, you've got Polledri back, no Garbisi though. It gets interesting in the selection in the back three. You've got Menoncello, who is a 12 for Benetton, playing on the wing. I think he got caught out of position defensively a few times last week, so that'll be an interesting one to watch, but he will bring some physicality. And I guess they're just trying to get him into the team. Padovani on the wing over Bruno. I think that's because they're expecting England's kicking game to come their way, and he will counter that. And of course, the little magician Ange Capuozzo at fullback. Let's see what he can do at Twickenham. That'll be exciting. And also, just got to say one more thing. Italy's kit, mwah, chef's kiss, wonderful, love it, absolutely love it. Right, as for a combined 15, if you had access to all 30 players, which 15 would make the cut? And I've gone with 11 Englishmen and 4 Italians. Yes, even over Lewis Ludlam and Jack Willis, I love Sebastian Negri and Michele Lamaro. I love those as flankers. I see England having too much for Italy up front, but as I said, those front row calls, they're a toss of a coin. I could quite happily have Fischetti in particular, the loosehead prop, really like him. He's on the rise. So I could have picked any one of those front row players. So I think it's fairly even in the pack. And I'm picking Don Brandt on what I've seen because I watch him in the Premiership. That may be bias on my part, because if I was just picking him on last week's selection, there's no way he'd be wearing the number 8 jersey. Into the backs, and I think it's a lot easier to pick a lot more Englishmen in this one. I've gone for Capozzo over Stewart. I think Stewart is incredible at what he does really well. Best in the world at what he does really well. There are some gaps in his game, and defensively, there's got to be ways that England can get the best out of him, in the way that Steve Borthwick got the best out of him at Leicester. So I'm hoping that is the case. And look at that, an entire English bench. So I'm not expecting this to be easy, but I am expecting England to win handily. More handily than France managed last week. France being the away team then. England have never lost to Italy at Twickenham. Never lost to Italy full stop, actually. Is that right? I think that's right. So I'm going to go England by 12. And a much improved England performance. As for, right, let me finish by, I'll tell you what, I'll finish by telling you what I think's been going on with these journalists and with these leaks, quote unquote. So, earlier in the week, there was more leaks of potential England teams and people saying, oh, Anthony Watson and Henry Arundell are going to be starting in the back three, and various other picks. And I think I've got to the bottom of why. Here you go, little trade secret. So, there are photographers that are allowed to go to England training. Getty Images photographers, you might have heard of that. And they post up, just on their own website, not publicly, the photographers upload all the pictures they take from training. And England have this system where they have they have a team of players that wear white bibs with numbers on the back. Or no, just white bibs. And they have a bunch of people that wear yellow bibs and a bunch of people that wear blue bibs, and then they go about their training. Now, what it appears to be the case is the white bibs are the people that are starting, the yellow bibs are the people that are on the bench, and the blue bibs are the people that aren't involved. And last week, all of the white bibbed people were the ones that were spotted by the journalists, and when you saw people going, yep, we think this is the England team, it was absolutely on the money correct. This week, people have said, oh, we think this is the England team, and they've been really wrong. And when you look at the photographs, all the players that the journalists thought were going to be starting for England were wearing white bibs. So potentially, what Steve Borthwick has done is said, oh, right, we've got the photographer in, have we? Right, yeah, you guys, you wear white bibs, just to mess about with them so they can't guess the England team. If Steve Borthwick has done that, fair play. Maybe the best bit of head coaching he's done so far. Hopefully I'm not saying that come Sunday evening. That's my thoughts. Give me yours. Bring on the rugby. Cannot wait. Leave your comments, hit subscribe. See you on the next one.